welcome to this episode of Ask Aviel. My name is Aviel. You can ask me questions so that we can share, learn, and grow together. Human beings have 5 senses. Today, I would like to share about sight and what the scripture says about our eyes. Genesis 3, 6-7. Now the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a thing of lust for the eyes, and that the tree was desirable for imparting wisdom. So she took of its fruit, and she ate. She also gave to her husband, who was with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. Rashi, or Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, and Ramban, or Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, explained that the eyes of both of them were unclosed, meaning that this has reference to the mind's eye or intelligence. Kiskuni, a popular commentary on the Torah written by Kiskia ben Manoach, stated that only now did they realize how many generations they had lost through eating from the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Siftei Kakamim is a super commentary on Rashi's commentary on Chumash. It is written by Shabbatai ben Joseph Bas in Amsterdam. He said that although Adam had the wisdom to give names to the animals, he did not have an evil inclination and could not distinguish between good and evil until he ate from the fruit of the tree. As evidenced by the end of the verse, Rashi emphasized that the scripture does not say, "And they saw they were naked." Rather, it says they knew they were naked. This indicates that they acquired knowledge. Genesis 27:1. Now it was when Yitzchak grew old, and his eyes were too dim to see. Da'at Zekanim, a Torah commentary compiled by later generations of scholars from the writings of the Franz-German school in the 12th to 13th century, mentions that the Torah tells us in Exodus 23:8 that accepting a bribe corrupts and blinds the eyes of those who have sight. Yitzchak accepting venison hunted by his son Esav caused him to overlook the numerous shortcomings of his son Esav without rebuking him. Yitzchak was not only physically blind, he was morally and ethically blinded by Esav's bribe. He was also spiritually blind, not having understanding and insight that the birthright and blessing of the firstborn rightfully belonged to Yaakov. David Kimki, or Radak, biblical commentator, grammarian, and philosopher, said that Yitzchak kept on aging until his eyesight was badly impaired. Most people experience the problem of failing eyesight in their old age. Struck with this affliction more than 20 years before he died, Yitzchak misinterpreted that his blindness meant that his death would occur soon. This is what prompted him to call in Esav and to bestow his blessing upon Esav before his death. Similarly, in 1 Samuel 3:2, the high priest Eli had his eyes grow dim so that he could not see. In the New Covenant or Brit Chadashah, John or Yochanan 9 says that Yeshua was passing by and he saw a man who had been blind since birth. Yeshua healed the man so that he could see. This man who had never experienced sight could now see. Luke 24:31 says of 2 disciples or Talmidim of Yeshua who had been walking with him on the road to a village called Emmaus. Then their eyes were opened and they recognized him, and he disappeared from them. The Jewish New Testament commentary by David Stern states that Yeshua referred to many of the prophecies as he explained to them the scriptures concerning himself, yet they were still spiritually blind. Only when he broke the matzah unleavened bread and handed it to them were their eyes finally opened. Acts 9, 8-9. Apostle Paul or Rav Shaul got up from the ground, but opening his eyes, he could see nothing. They led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. For 3 days he could not see. He had been persecuting the believers, the Messianic Jews, and wanting to bring them back to Jerusalem for trial and punishment. Adonai told Ananias, or Kananyah, to lay hands on him and pray for him. Kananyah means the grace of Yah. God's grace was still pursuing rough Shaul in his physical and spiritual blindness, wanting to restore sight to Shaul. In verse 18, after Hananiah prayed for him, immediately something like scales fell from Shaul's eyes, and he regained his sight. In Acts 13, a man who was a magician, a Jewish false prophet, whose name was Bar Yeshua, tried to turn the proconsul away from the faith. But Shaul, who is also Paul, filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, said, "Behold, the hand of the Lord is upon you, and you shall be blind and not see the sun for a while." Immediately, cloudiness and darkness fell upon him, and he went about seeking people to lead him by the hand. The magician prevented the proconsul from seeking truth, so his judgment was that he became blind for a while. It was not partial blindness, but complete blindness, as it is stated in the scriptures that he would not see even the sun, the brightest source of light. In Revelation 21:4, God promised that he shall wipe away every tear from the eyes of his people. In his commentary, David Stern says that the sinless conditions of Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden, are restored. All creation will be set free from its bondage to decay. It is the fulfillment of Isaiah's prophecy in chapter 65 that there shall no longer be heard the sound of weeping or crying in the new heavens and the new earth. Thank you for joining me. I pray that this message inspires and challenges you. God bless you and your family. Shalom.